Hello, my name is Elena Sorrow, and this is my mystery molecule presentation. So, the gene I was assigned was the KCNQ1 gene, or the potassium voltage gated channel, subfamily Q member 1, and this gene belongs to a large family of genes that code for the making and function of potassium channels in the body. The KCNQ1 gene is located on the short or P arm of chromosome 11, region 15, and band 15.5. So how does this KCNQ1 gene work? The KCNQ1 protein interacts with proteins in the KCNE family to form potassium channels. These channels transport positively charged atoms of potassium out of cells, and 4 alpha subunits made from KCNQ1 proteins form the structure of each channel, while 1 beta subunit made from a KCNE protein binds to the channel and regulates its activity and controls the concentration gradient of the potassium through the potassium channels. So what disease is caused by mutation in this gene? While mutations in the KCNQ1 gene can cause a lot of different diseases, some of them being short QT syndrome or SIDS/sudden infant death syndrome. The most common one is found to be LQTS or long QT syndrome, also known as Romano-Ward syndrome. And LQTS is an abnormal feature of the heart's electrical system. Some of the most common symptoms of LQTS are fainting or feeling faint, noisy/trouble sleeping, and seizures. And in rare cases or very severe cases, abnormal heart rhythms/heart flutters can cause death. And while in mild cases you can still get abnormal heart rhythms and heart flutters, they don't become very fatal until the disease has progressed further. But there's no reason to be scared of this disease. While even though it is fatal, it only affects 1 person in every 2,500 people, so it is not super common, and it does not seem to affect any specific population. So there's not one gender or race or region of the world where this disease is more prominent than another. That also makes people not any less or any more susceptible than any other person. So LQTS is an autosomal dominant, or the inheritance pattern of LQTS is autosomal dominant. So a person only has to inherit one affected gene from a parent to have the disease. So if people don't always show symptoms, which also means they can be a carrier. So if you can pass down the gene even if you don't know you have it, or you can pass down the affected gene even if you don't know you have it. And what to expect with the disease and what treatments are available. So the severity of LQTS can vary significantly from one person to person. Some can have it with no symptoms in very mild cases, and others can have very severe symptoms in very severe cases that can cause sudden cardiac death. While LQTS can be deadly, with 21% of people experiencing severe symptoms pass away in 1 year. But if people can seek treatment early, they only have a 1% chance of dying from the disease if it progresses at all. And some treatments include medications, beta blockers, cardiac defibrillators, pacemakers, and some surgeries, with one common one being left cardiac sympathetic denervation, or LCSD surgery, which is the removing of the lower half of the stellate ganglion T1 and the thoracic ganglia from T2 to T4. What mutations cause LQTS? The most common type of mutation that causes it, or is found to cause it, is the point mutation A341V. This affects the pore-forming unit of the channel, making it non-functional when it's mutated alone, but it is found that when it is co-expressed with the wild-type mutation, or with wild-type KCNE1, A341V mutation can produce a slowly activating current instead of one that doesn't function at all. And this specific mutation is found on exon 13. The mutations that cause Romano-Ward syndrome are usually present in only one copy of the KCNQ1 gene in each cell. And the gene consists of 676 amino acids, with the mutated version having the same amount, but with a substitution of amino acids. And that is shown in the mutation that describes the substitution of alanine or alanine at position 341 to valine or valine. as a result of the codon coding the wrong amino acid within the gene. And then how long is the gene? The mRNA transcript for the genomic structure of the KCNQ1 gene is 400 kilobases long, making it a relatively long gene compared to some genes only being 40 to 50 kilobases long. The diseased or mutated version of the gene also is the same length, or should be, as the most common mutation that causes, or the most common mutation and mutated type of the gene that causes LQTS does not take or add any amino acids to the structure of it. And for exons, there are 19 exons and 18 introns in the KCNQ1 gene, and this number also does not change in the mutated type. So how is the structure any different? The mutation affects both the active and the allosteric sites, and it distracts the channels gating and ion conduction, which changes the structure by causing the channel to lose control of the flow of potassium, which results in abnormal heart rhythms. So essentially, the mutation may make the channel less functional, making it open, so it loses complete control of the gradient, and instead of allowing some ions through, most ions are just able to pass through on their own, which is what results in the heart flutters that can be fatal. And what molecular processes are affected? A mutation in the KCNQ1 gene can stop the function of potassium channels that transport potassium out of cells. And this is a very common thing in the human body, so it will affect a lot, or it can affect a lot of metabolic processes, which some include, or some problems with the channels will affect metabolic statuses of the cells, and also can affect someone's hearing, cellular potassium homeostasis, kidney function, and of course cardiovascular function in the heart, which is the most prominent effect that the mutation has on a person's cells.